The following is an independently produced community access program. The viewpoints expressed are those of the community access producer and do not reflect those of Shaw Cable Systems. The program is presented in response to CRTC policy guidelines regulating community programming.
Hi folks, and welcome back to Calling BS on Shaw TV's Community Creations. We are the sports talk show with the most. I am, of course, one of your co-hosts, Brian Svensson, the hockey hipster. That over there is my good buddy and good friend, Shawn Nandel. He is the terror of Twitter. And of course, we spend 15 minutes every single week bringing to you what we think is the most important in sporting news with a cutting-edge outlook. So the gimmick that we seem to have on this show and is that we have a timer. It's here for us, down there for you guys, and it counts down from 4 minutes. And when that 4 minutes is done, we are done talking about that topic and we move on to the next one. So 3 topics every single week for you to enjoy. And our 3 topics this week, we're going to talk about the NHL playoffs, the round 1 of the NHL playoffs. We're going to talk about the awful officiating in said playoffs, and we're going to talk about Albert Pujols' 500th home run. Very special mark. So with that, let's get started. 4 minutes on the clock. What really stood out to you, Shawn, in this round 1 of this year's playoffs?
Actually, the Rangers-Flyers series, I was left a little bit disappointed by that. I know people might call me crazy saying it was a 2-1 score in Game 7 and went to the limit, but I expected a lot more nastiness, a lot more intensity between 2 teams that do not like each other, and quite frankly, 2 cities that don't like each other. It left me wanting a little more that way.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. That being said, as far from a hockey standpoint, it was thrilling. There was a lot of skill on both sides, and it did, as you said, get pushed to the limit in Game 7. As far as a nasty hockey rivalry goes, though, I can 100% agree with you that it's just missing something. Something that disappointed me, Sergei Bobrovsky. You know, in a series where I felt and picked myself the Columbus Blue Jackets to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins, he just didn't steal enough games. He was good in 3 out of the 4,
right,
and just didn't, or 3 out of the 6, and just didn't show up nearly as much as I would have hoped he should have.
Yeah, I also picked the Jackets to win that series. I picked them to win it in 7. I think we had both agreed on that. Yeah, he had to be the MVP of that series for Columbus to have a chance, and I thought he would be. And then on top of that, you add how bad Fleury usually is at this time of year.
And he didn't exactly look great either.
No, and their stars were struggling to score. Well, Malkin got a hat trick in the last game, but besides that, they struggled to score. The star players struggled to score.
You know, and I mount that on Brandon Dubinsky,
yes,
who just absolutely shut down Sidney Crosby.
For sure.
He was draped all over him for the majority of the games.
Yeah.
Did a fantastic job. I think he might be looking at a contract extension for a higher price for how well he played.
Columbus, the best thing to happen to them was to trade Rick Nash. That was the best thing to happen to them.
I'm not going to necessarily dispute that. Really big disappointment for myself was, of course, the poor goaltending in the Tampa Bay Lightning Montreal Canadiens series. You have to think that if Ben Bishop doesn't get injured and is there for the Tampa Bay Lightning, they might not win that series, but at least it's close.
Yeah.
They take Game 1, push Game 2 at least to the very limit, probably take one of the 2 games in 3 or of 3 and 4, and you're looking at more than likely a 7-game series that would have finished off last night. Obviously, I can't predict that, but it's a safe assumption.
Right.
Something that pleasantly, I guess, surprised me, even though I like the Colorado Avalanche, the comeback and gutsiness of the Minnesota Wild was just outstanding to come back and win that Game 7.
Yeah, the funny thing is they never actually led that game until they scored the overtime winner, which is the funny thing. And yeah, they came back all series long. Really, if things went their way, they could have won the series a lot earlier because a lot of dramatics from the Avalanche in Games 1 and 5, which actually put them in the lead of the series for the time being. But yeah, I give credit to the Wild. A lot of those kind of late goals, giving up late goals, losing in overtimes.
Michael Granlund.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, with that huge diving goal.
Yeah.
And we can't talk about the first round of the NHL playoffs, of course, without talking about the collapse of the San Jose Sharks.
Right.
The 4th team in NHL history to drop a 3-0 series lead in the playoffs and end up losing that series. Of course, the 42 Leafs, 75 Islanders, 2010 Flyers, the 2014 Los Angeles Kings adding themselves to that crop. Now, do we praise the Kings or do we fault the Sharks?
Both. I think you do both.
You got to do both.
Yeah.
Justin Williams, good Lord, the man is clutch.
The guy is still a 20 to 25 goal scorer in the regular season, but he tends to fly under the radar a bit. But going back to his Carolina days and now with Los Angeles, the guy is Mr. Clutch in the playoffs when it matters the most.
Has a playoff gear. I can't dispute you on that. I want him on my team. And of course, something that disturbs both of us, and we wanted to save this because of the playoff series that it was most prominent in, the very poor officiating in the NHL playoffs. Stood out to me, of course, in the Chicago Blackhawks St. Louis Blues series the absolute most. For most of the series, Duncan Keith looked like he was a lumberjack out there, taking swings at every single tree that passed by.
It was ridiculous. I lost count, especially in Game 2, how many times he hacked away at guys. I used to respect him as a defenseman. That game, I lost a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, if he wasn't hacking at Oshie's hands or at the feet of Tarasenko, he sticks in the noses and faces during the face-offs, looking to start everything at every single possible opportunity. Of course, hacking Oshie in the wrists on a very unfortunate circumstance for David Backes, the captain of the St. Louis Blues, taking a headshot from Brent Seabrook that concussed him, I have no doubt, missing 2 games. Big turning point in that series. Do you think that Seabrook deserved more? I mean, obviously, they called the right call. The officials, I have to think they called the right call on that and ejected him from the game for that high hit. But do you think he deserved more than the 3 games he got?
I thought he should have gotten the remainder of the series, however long that went. Obviously, Chicago came back to win that. But David Backes getting knocked out, he is their heart and soul. As he goes, they go. You saw that late in the regular season when they choked away that division lead and lost to Colorado on the very last day of the season. And you saw the series turn in Chicago's favor when he was out of the lineup. Now, don't get me wrong, Chicago gets credit for coming back. They're the defending champions, and they showed why. But I think St. Louis lost something when Backes went down, and they couldn't get it back even when he came back.
I agree with you. Another serious point that we have to talk about here is the missed low blows.
Yeah, it's
constant
ridiculous.
Low blows. Milan Lucic with one, Corey Perry with one.
Ryan Garbett in Dallas with one, too.
Ryan Garbett with one. And it's not something that a man does to another man, I feel.
No, I think the worst thing you can do to another guy is to hit him in a sensitive area like that and also spit in a guy's face. And you were telling me, too, breaking someone else's nose is also one of the worst pains you can inflict on someone.
It's not good. None of those guys, none of them got suspensions.
Slaps on the wrist, basically.
Fines for guys who are making millions of dollars a year.
Lucic got a $5,000 fine. Ryan Garbett got about $1,500. And Corey Perry got a 2-minute minor. Nothing serious for any of these guys, which is ridiculous. Milan Lucic tried to play it off like, oh, this happens all the time, so that makes it okay. No, it doesn't make it okay.
Rules are in place for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's a spearing penalty or a slashing penalty, depending on how you attack the other player.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a 2-minute. It's definitely a 2-minute minor. Sometimes maybe a double, depending on how serious the ref believes it is. It's something that I think the refs need to step up on with all the stick minors that are going on, all the stick checking penalties. It needs to be seriously cut down in round 2. Now, something else I wanted to discuss is an odd play that happened in the Montreal-Tampa series involving Carey Price throwing himself into the body of Alex Killorn in his own crease in order to establish position in his own crease to make the save, called as a goaltender interference call. Now, while I don't disagree that that's what the rule says, and that was in fact a goaltender interference call, they should have blown it down as soon as he did it. Yeah. As soon as him and Killorn made contact, blow the whistle, have the face-off outside the zone, no more controversy. That puck doesn't enter the net, and it's not an issue.
Yeah, the thing is, too, if you blow the whistle on time, people don't get so up in arms about these kind of things then.
Exactly.
And also, it's the consistency of the calls, right? It's the inconsistency that drives the GMs, the coaches, the players, the fans, everyone nuts.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that one call on one player one game isn't the same call as another player on the next. It needs to stop. And of course, our last topic of the day is we're going to talk about a historic moment.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols hits his 500th home run. Wow, I mean, like, there are only not very many people in MLB history have done this. It's a significant mark, especially for a guy who's been a role model and clean, as far as we know, for his entire career.
Yeah, he's the 26th player to do it, and like you said, he's for the most part, as far as we know, he's remained clean. He's the third youngest guy to do it. Alex Rodriguez was put an asterisk beside that one.
Obviously pretty tainted.
Yeah, and Jimmy Fox was the other guy to hit it, who was younger than Pujols, to hit 500 home runs. But yeah, it's quite a milestone. He hit his 499th and his 500th in the same game. It was in Nationals Park too, where he also hit his 400th home run when he was a member of the Cardinals. And what I liked too was Nationals fans gave him a nice ovation.
It's not something you see.
No, he tipped his batting helmet and he came out for a curtain call. So I thought that was a nice touch to it.
For something as big as that, I think it is a significant deal. Now, going forward, obviously, we've both commented on how we've seen him deteriorate a little bit in his skill and his career. Do you think he can chase Hank?
Oh, wow. That's a tough question to answer because he's had health problems, really. Last year he was limited to 99 games. So far this year he's looking okay, and obviously his bat's working just fine. But if I were a betting man, no, I wouldn't say I think he starts to break down as he goes further along, because he's 34 years old right now.
Even if he starts DHing more?
If he starts DHing more, he was DHing last year too.
A little bit, but not only, like talking about David Ortiz level of dedicated
full-time
DH. He is in the American League, so he can do it.
Yeah. Well, it's a possibility. Like I said, if I was a betting man, probably not. But we've also talked about it before. It's too bad this didn't happen with the Cardinals, where he should have stayed.
Yeah.
But he took the big money with the Halos. It's not necessarily a bad thing for St. Louis that he left. They're going to win.
They easily replaced him. Who would have thought, with Carlos Beltran?
And I think they're going to win a World Series long before the Halos do, and Pujols does. No offense to him, as great of a player as he is, the Halos just don't have the pitching.
No, and I think with all the salary that they've got locked up on those players, I don't really foresee them
paying $25 million a year to Josh Hamilton to do what? To do nothing.
Not really a whole lot of anything, but they do have the best young star in baseball, in Mike Trout. So now, one thing that kind of perplexed me is I noticed this, is that they mentioned while he was at the plate that for this 500th home run that they were using marked baseballs, and that they had a special mark on them to signify that they were in fact the authentic home run ball. Now, while he only hit one ball into the stands, and that was the home run, so that wasn't an issue. Had he hit more foul balls,
right?
What, do they number them? This is something that's very curious to me. I haven't really obviously looked into it that much, but I'm kind of curious about that. Now, the Halos, how do you see their season progressing with all of this swirling around them now?
I don't see them being anything special. I think I picked them to be around a 500 ball club. I know there were some experts who said they were in for a breakthrough year, but quite frankly, I think Oakland is better than them in that division. I think Texas is better than them in that division.
Oakland certainly has better pitching, especially with the outbreak of the 24-year-old star, Sonny Gray.
For sure. The pitching is not what the Halos have. I said that before. Big-time offense will only last for so long. Eventually, it's going to dry up. Pitching can get you through a season.
Fair enough. And we really have no more to talk about with that, so perfectly timed topic as we are winding down. Just want to thank everybody who consistently watches us and anybody who tunes in at any other time to see us on Shaw TV's Community Creations Television. We do, of course, put quite a bit of effort into this, and it doesn't mean anything without you guys watching. So we want to thank you for that. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter at CallingBSShow. We have an audio podcast we put out once every 2 weeks on iTunes, which we would love for you to subscribe there. We have some big things in the past and some really big things coming forward in the future. So if you could check us out on that, that would be super cool. Wanted to thank everybody here at Shaw for giving us an opportunity to do this every week. And we wanted to thank our one-man awesome crew, Darren Marash, for helping us out every single week with all the heavy lifting. And make sure that you tune into us next week. And until then, thanks and have a great week.